Hello and welcome to Faces of UCM. I'm your host for this episode, Justin Dean. And here with me today to discuss study abroad is Professor of Communication and Director of Forensics, Dr. Jack Rogers. Dr. Rogers, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
First, I'm going to start off with a more broad question. What was it that led you to start taking students abroad, and where all have you gone with them?
I started in 1996. I was invited by Trevor Souther, who was at the time the debates convener for the English Speaking Union, and he invited me to bring a group of debate students across the pond to debate. And so I started in 96, and I've been England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and then I've taught for the State Department in the Balkan Peninsulas and most of the Eastern Bloc, former Soviet Union. So been all over Romania, the Czech Republic, Bulgaria, those places.
Okay, that's very cool. And why is it that you think that students should be studying abroad?
I think there's so much beyond the borders of the United States that students really can't experience through a television show or a movie. There's just something about being there, learning the culture, interacting with other people. I know for the debaters, they learn to look at international events from a different perspective. You know, it's not quite so U.S. focused. They tend to look at things from an international perspective, and it just gives them a different view of the world. There's a lot of history to be learned. There's a lot of cultural things that are different. I think it's something that really changes a student's life and perspective.
Okay, and I also know that keeping these trips accessible to as many students as possible is important to you. So how is it that you go about making sure that students have access to these trips, both financially and with scheduling and class conflicts?
Well, you know, for the financial side of things, the university does support part of it. We have a domestic budget, and then we also get funding from the academic team committee. We also have a foundation, so we do fundraising. We look for whatever grants are out there that we can couple together. It used to be we were able to get study abroad grants and things from the university. And then the students have to do their own fundraising for part of it, and so they raise part of their funds. We usually go in March, and we try to work it so that we leave, and then we take advantage of spring break. And that way the students are out of class less than they would be if we didn't take advantage of spring break. So, you know, when you've been doing it for as long as I have, you just kind of pick up tricks on how to make things cheaper, how to get students there, how to make it accessible to students, and how to keep them, you know, they have to get ahead in their classes so that they can take the time off, but it generally works.
Okay. That's very neat. But what is it that you get personally out of taking these trips? What does it mean to you? When you watch a student, I've had several students who, for example, it was their first time on an airplane. And, oh, wow.
Yeah, and they're flying across, you know, the Atlantic Ocean. And just the change that comes over the students when they realize that they're in a country where they've only seen in movies, they've only read about it, you know, like in Dickens and things like that. Just watching them come alive, it changes their whole perspective. And that's why you go in education in the first place.
Okay, well, unfortunately, we're out of time now. So thank you for joining me on Faces of UCM. It was a pleasure to speak with you. And thank you all for joining us today.